Okay. I'd like to,
Need just 1 minute to get it
Okay.
rolling.
all right. Okay. I'd like to call the meeting back into order. We're now entering into our town hall style setting meeting. And today we have with us Pastor Rodney Coles. He will be moderating our town hall meeting today. And I would turn it over to Dr. Coles. Before I do, we will have a hard stop at 11:30 exactly.
You got
Dr.
it.
Coles, thank you.
Okay. Well, good morning. First, I'm going to start out with the indication. We're going to do a quick prayer. Make sure you can hear me. We can just bow our heads and close our eyes real quick and let the Spirit guide us and lead us. Heavenly Father, again, we want to say thank you for this opportunity, Lord, to allow us to be here this morning, Lord, waking us up this morning, Lord. We thank you, Lord, for the words going to come forth today, God. Allow it to be a beautiful section, Lord, that those can express their feelings, God, without any disrespect, Lord, as we come together, Lord, as one accord, Lord. So we just want to say thank you, Heavenly Father. And I just thank you, Lord. In Jesus' name I pray. And all of God's children can say, Amen.
Amen.
At this time, we have the pledge of allegiance. All right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And that's this time, we're going to do the roll call. Again, as we first, let me do the welcome. And we want to welcome everybody here this morning. I know it's a beautiful day to play some golf or do a little barbecue, get the grill ready. But we just thank God you're here. We want to say a special welcome this morning to Judge Sutton, Cornelia Church. Amen. Good to see you. Amen. Can we get a little applause? Come on, where's everybody? Amen. So we want to do real quick is a quick roll call. If we can have all the council to name who is at hit this morning. By starting first with Mr. John, just give your name, who you'll go on through.
Yes, I'm Councilman John Moy.
Councilwoman Lisa Smith.
Mayor Pro Tem Veronica Robertson.
Mayor Ricky Hines.
Councilwoman Dr. Brandy Harrell.
Councilwoman Chantel Hawkins.
All right, well, thank you and welcome. You didn't make the roll call this morning, am I correct?
Yes.
All right, we're gonna have a little fun here, because I believe God didn't send us in this earth to eat lemons and suck on prunes. We're gonna enjoy life, all right?
Yes.
So we're gonna have a little fun. We have a little fun by getting some things done on a serious business here this morning. So I want to talk about the respect. We would like to hear from you. We want to be able to hear from you without yelling and screaming. We want to hear your opinions. We're here, the council here on a Saturday. We want to thank them for being here, but we want to thank you for being here as well. So just give you a little bit of where the restroom at. If you go through the door here towards the left, there's the men's and the females' restrooms right there. I learned it myself as I came in, also saw it on the chart, all right? So also want to, really want to focus on, the purpose of this meeting is to focus on questions that is going on in the community. Could you guys hear me well? All right. Focus on some things that happen in the community. And I want to start out first. First, let's find out what's the purpose of it. What is the purpose of this? Let me find out what is the purpose of us here, because I know the purpose. Because somebody explained to the community why we're here this morning.
Good morning, Dr. Pastor Coles. It is an honor and a privilege to be here this morning. The purpose is the people. This is the town of Winterville. And as you note, the first word is town. There is no place without a town, and there is no town without people.
Come on now.
So that is the very purpose of opening up an opportunity for the people of the town to ask its governing bodies and department heads questions and get direct answers. This is a platform that will allow no in-between, no I heard or hearsay. This is a platform that will allow the governing bodies us who have been elected and or volunteer and or staff to speak to the people who have entrusted them. So this is the very reason. Also to leave with some feedback so that we as a town can not only listen, but hear and do. That is the purpose of this town hall today. This was spearheaded by myself, Councilwoman Chantel Hawkins, as well as Dr. Brandy Harrell, and then also approved by the town. But we are here today as a town council and a governing body to hear from the people. That is why we are here today.
Well,
That's the purpose.
thank you for that purpose, and that is a good purpose for all being here this morning. So this is really about for the town to speak on things that's in your heart, that you want to get out to talk about it. But the key thing, as I said previously, we could talk about certain things, but let's be very respectable on how we want to talk about it. And I'm just here to moderate how we want to speak about the things we want to talk about. So I'm going to first, I know that the town of Winterville is
Dr.
growing.
Cole, may I add something to that?
Mhm.
We're here today as a means of asking questions of our town board and our town departments. But I would like for the citizens to know that you can do that 365 days a year, 24 hours. I get calls at my house. Some of you call me at my house. Some of you left messages at my house. Also, people come to our houses. We live in the communities. So feel free to use those avenues. Feel free to use your emails. If you go to our town page and look at our town pictures, under the pictures, you have our personal phone numbers. You can click on them. You have our personal emails. You can click on them. So don't just feel that today is the only opportunity. It's wonderful today to do this, but we also know that there'll be needs beyond this. And if you need us, feel free, call us, contact us. Thank you.
And I'd like to add great points from Mayor Pro Tem Robinson, but additionally, we do have public comment at each of our council meetings, which are monthly. So we are available in between. We're available monthly at our regular town meetings, and in addition, all the ways that Mayor Pro Tem Robinson specified.
And I say that we all work together for the good to them that is called. And that's, we are calling for our citizens and for the council to continue to work together, not just started. This always has been. We are continually working together for the good.
I don't have to say, because I think the council spoke it, said it. We all on one accord. As I always say, it's we.
It's a way.
Winterville starts with a W, ends with an E. It's we. We're in this together. Decisions are made, and all the times decisions are not going to be favorable. But the thing of it is, one word that we all should remember, that's compromise.
That's right.
Compromise goes a long way.
I'd just like to say good morning to everyone again, and thank you all for being here and your collaborative efforts. When we think about trust, we think about making sure that we are collaborative, we're transparent, and that we stay, on the path of being collaborative and helping one another. So thank you all for being here.
Well, thank you for y'all being here as well and sharing that with the community. And as you have heard, this the purpose. We are one. If you move the W upside down, would it be a me, right?
Right.
But we are a we. We always one. So this is kind of the time. I know that Winterville have grown so much. They got so many stores and so much stuff has happened in Winterville. I've been here for 21 years, and it's like overnight, stores and things are being built up in Winterville, because Sam wasn't here when I came here to Winterville, up to Greenville. but it's growing. I know that more people are moving, like people like myself from New York. Yes, I did say it. I did say, yeah, we all moving down, all right, but there's so many people moving from all direction towards this area, the eastern side of North Carolina. And we do know that we're talking about the growth, but this is kind of the opportunity to hear from the community, what's on your heart? What's on your heart? Anyone want to speak about some things that you see? I know that light bills might be one issue in all areas, but I know the light bill. Anybody want to speak about anything on their heart? This is not the time to be shy. Anybody? Do I need to call somebody out? Anybody on their heart want to say anything? So let's talk about the light bill. Anybody had a problem with their light bills? All right, I got one. I got one. You like to speak a little bit about the light bill? Stand up, ma'am.
If, I'm sorry to interrupt, if I may. Ms. Cannon, do you mind coming to the podium? We need to be able to we need to be able to capture.
Yeah, I live at 2426 Myrtle Street, and I was just wondering, is there protocol like Greenville has with Beat the Peak that we could eliminate it and, you know, have someone, if you wanted it, you could have it. If you didn't want it, you could have it. And would that help with our utility bill?
Do you want Ron or Anthony to speak to this?
I think Anthony or Jessica to
I mean, I'm
speak
sorry,
to
yeah,
that.
I didn't mean to call you out, Ron.
I'm sure Ron knows about it too. but-
Yeah, but Anthony or either Jessica could speak to that, please.
Good morning. Hey. Currently, the town does not offer a program such as that. We are certainly looking at moving in a direction with AMI metering that would allow technology. The technology that is required for that type of program is not in place currently. So unfortunately, due to the technology demands of running such a program, we're not at a level from a mechanical mechanism infrastructure on property homeowners' houses to be able to do that. When we switch to a more AMI, new automated technology in the future, certainly, you know, that program leans to load shaving, which allows for savings in cost. Yeah. And so currently, we do not have that type of infrastructure in place, but it is something we're looking at as we move to more advanced technology with metering in our utilities.
Now, moving to the metering system, we have explored that cost, correct?
We are working at it. We've actually had a couple of different presentations from multiple companies. I've gone to several schools on it. We have looked at what would be the best, most efficient option for the town with the technology we have in place and the metering systems that we have in place. And so what we've looked at is what is the most low-cost option that reduces the burden on the system as far as the cost goes, as well as, you know, implementation process, and then how that ties into our billing system. And so all these systems have to work together. And so we have put money in next year's budget as far as when we get to recommendations from staff to help address those that situation with metering.
You know, I'm a customer myself. I live here in this town in Winterville. Beat the Peak or any regulation or control is controlled by me a lot of time on how do I like to keep my home cool in the summertime? How warm do I want it to be in the wintertime? I'm one of those I think is control of my home itself, especially when it's coming down to cost. Efficiency, when you're talking about making sure that you change your filters on your units. Make sure that everything is, you don't have most of your heat or your air going out through the windows and all of that weather-wise. I mean, there's a lot of things that I have to do. I can't speak for nobody else. And I found out as long as I don't wait until a huge problem comes up before I try to address. I try to do a little bit at a time. That's what I do now.
Okay, well, my question is with Big P.
Yes.
Now, I was told in Greenville, when I used to live there.
Yes.
When I used to live there.
Okay.
Is that actually cuts the stuff off if you wanted it at the time, and then that ain't got nothing to do
with no
with,
control.
with you changing your filters, because I change my filters every
Yes.
3 months. I keep my thermostat, I have a programmable thermostat.
Okay.
So that has nothing to do with with us. That's got something to do with the whole system.
Right.
Is that correct? Am I correct?
So a beat to peak type system is controlled by the utility.
Yes.
The good thing about that, decisions made by the utility as far as when they need to load shave, which saves money on our electric bill.
Yes.
It also saves money for the customer, but the problem with it is the power goes out.
Right.
And so you gotta be willing to, or is reduced. So you get not knowing people's schedules. I mean, they would have to sign up for the program and be willing to be in that situation where they may or may not have, utilities, electric utilities for a period of time.
Well, the reason why I addressed what I did was because we do not have a program. That was stated in the beginning. And in order for us to have a program like that, we would have to update our equipment. But I was thinking of this in the meantime, what I could do and what I have been doing, try to help 582 Alma Drive to try to keep our utility bill at the minimum that we can, is to control it, to make sure we make.
I make those adjustments.
Yes, ma'am. We on the same page.
I make those adjustments.
Yes, ma'am.
Were you also addressing bills, the program where your bill is the same each month, Ms. Cass?
Yeah, well, no, not that. I mean, I will agree with that. Is it, if we do across the board thing for each year, just anything not to have my utility bill $385 this month and $202 the next month.
Well, that's something all of us are facing.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if I could go all the way across each month with the same bill, then I'm not happy, but I'm satisfied.
It worked. One of the things I look at, the bills are continue going up for a lot of residents, so we need to kind of regulate this here in a certain part that it falls into their budget. It's amazing that these light companies are getting a raise, but there's people who haven't got a raise in 7 years. So as we live in these residents, there's a budget. So like you said, I like the idea. She's changing her filter. She's setting up the thermostat. She's doing her, dotting her I's, and she's crossing a T. I guess the question comes back, if once we put a system like that in there, it will help brings it down. But there had to be something to kind of help these residents to regulate their bills. Folks doesn't have the money, it's not coming into the household. If they if there's on I guess a budget already for whatever social service coming to them, that's all they have. So those are some questions. I just thank you for that, being very bold to say that, thank you. But how do we kind of work that out? And as I heard, well, yeah, he done gone already.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
But Pastor Cole, to that, we also got to remember utilities is nationwide. This is not just a Winterville problem. This is a nationwide problem. The cost of utilities is going up across the country. One way to combat that to the citizens, to Ms. Cannon as well, is your elected officials above us, the regulatory commission. You got to reach out to your elected officials above us, because they are talking to these big electric companies that are pushing these things down to us. We got to absorb the cost when they push down to us. So, yes, I know everybody's on fixed income, you know, but things are not coming down, they're steady going up. But when you have these big companies pushing it down to us, we got to make a choice. We got to make the decision to keep the lights on for the town. I mean, you know, that's where we're at. We don't want to impose a cost onto our citizens, but at the same time, we have a duty to maintain and keep the lights on.
And that part, I'm trying to understand. Kathy, you want to say something?
So I just would like to say, thank you for your comment. Our role as town council is balancing sustainability and affordability. And so with that being said, as our assistant town manager spoke about, we are continuously reviewing utility structures and the infrastructure, and also efficiency and fairness. And so as we go into our budget season, which is next month, we'll have our workshops, we can look at those types of programs, and also, as he said, bring in those utility monitoring programs as we go forward. So I do appreciate that. And then also continuing to advocate for cost-saving structure. So we just, our last meeting, we voted on the power cost adjustment where, you know, we're doing, as I say, a both and, right? We're sharing that cost with you all. And so again, connecting you all also with assistance programs for folks that need those type of assistant programs. So again, thank you for your comment, but I think that, you know, we have to have a balance between sustainability and affordability for you all.
Thank you so much. I would like to piggyback off of Dr. Harrell and sharing that this is a collective effort. And while the country is experiencing a variety of things that are causing the gas prices to go up, and while the country and the world has climate change, we have to find some sort of sustainability because we can have a cold snap, we can have a hot spike, but there needs to be some sustainability for our residents, and I will encourage others in other towns and states to look at this as well. Our residents, as well as ourselves, we cannot make adjustments according to the variation via war, via the weather. People are on a budget. And so that is why we're looking to these things. We want you to know that we hear you when you say this is a strain on your budget, because an additional 100 could have been gas, an additional 100 could have been food, and we can not just be okay with that and pass it to someone else. In terms of the state legislators, we are here directly for you to actually show you how to get up with your state representatives, to speak on your behalf and be the conduit from you to the state representatives. So we hear you tonight, we've heard you, and that is why a special call meeting was called, to where the outcome was a 2.5 cent charge as opposed to a whole 5 cent charge. So thank you, Ms. Cannon, and I will be more than happy to speak with you after this meeting as well. Thank you. And also, Dr. Coles, I just wanted to point out our Human Relations Board members. They are volunteer members. They sit to the left of me, and they have joined us because they are in collaboration with us for this. And I don't know if you want to introduce
yourself? I know. Oh, you're gonna sing too. Go on now. Thank you so much for being with us. So I just want to recap what the assistant manager just mentioned. Y'all working on a system already to try to bring it down on the adjustment of these light bills. And then also, this is not a local issue. This is a legislation issue. So I think one thing we need to bring bring those to the off here one time to talk, hear from them, the ones that we voted in to office, and how we can make this happen. But thank you again for being very direct on those questions, and which is dealing with the light bills are going up, cable bills going up. I say, they just charge you stuff, I don't even telling you. Like I got a $30 charge. I said, well, what happened? No, you don't even talk to me, just charge me on my bill? And they just charge. And sometimes you feel like you could do all things with Christ, but pay your bills. You know what I'm saying? I'll lose a little weight. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna keep on moving on here, because we're gonna be out of here by 11:30.
Pastor Coles.
Yeah, somebody gets 2 more questions over here. Yes, sir,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead. Council.
You go first, Town Manager. and I'll-
And I'm Terry, I'm behind the monitors over here. I just wanted to remind the citizens here that we do have a facet of our town that is served by Greenville Utilities Commission. So there is a concern that the things we do as council for our electric system, that the citizens that are served by Greenville Utilities have not yet had that same opportunity to have input on what's happening with their electric bills. So I just ask everybody to keep that in mind, and Councilwoman Harrell said it best, it's the consistent balancing act, and we will move forward to try to look at the best ways to balance. But I think, to be realistic, we will have to address things as they continue to go up, because they're not coming down. Thank you.
And my comment was similar to Town Manager Parker. So you made a statement about light companies getting a raise. I was going to point out the fact that only about 3,000 of the approximate 11,000 citizens, residents of Winterville, are on Winterville Electric. And those citizens have had the benefit of not having an increase to their electric prices since, I believe it's 2009. And so that has been a great benefit to those members of our community who have the privilege of being served by Winterville Electric. And it is unfortunate that we've had to do a slight power cost adjustment due to the unforeseen and severe winter weather that impacted our entire state, which reduced production from our Kings Mountain plant that provides our utilities. And also, while production was decreased, increased need. And as we all know, with decreased supply and an increased demand, there is an increase in cost. And this is a temporary power cost adjustment for only 4 months. And fortunately, this time it is in the 4 months that are typically the more mild climate for us. Not easy by any means, but I do want to make that point of clarification and add on to what Town Manager Parker said, and that those 3,000-ish residents have the benefit of not having had an electrical increase since 2009. So just a point of clarification. I know that there was a recent article, I think Greenville is facing some additional increases, and some of our residents, so again, it'd be about 8,000 residents are provided utilities. They're Winterville residents, but their utilities are provided by Greenville due to territorial agreements and things like that, their service areas. So.
Yes, and I'm actually one of the customers that's on GUC, you know, and that's what I was speaking to last time was I want the council to take the same vigor, because we're voting members as well as everybody in the town, but we're actually gonna have a $10 increase.
A flat
$10 increase. Plus, we don't know what Duke is gonna pass down as well, is even the governor even speaking to that now, you know, because we don't know. So GUC may come back with another cost to us as well. And so that's why we as a council got to keep that in mind as well, because we service everyone, all 11,000. We're their voice for all 11,000 people in town.
Wanted to say, if there's a possibility that we probably could look at the idea that was brought up, that you can have a flat rate given to each customer for 12 months. Now, I think that it's got to be something that you're going to have to pay the difference at one point, because when you have that spike to go up, that means that the cost would go up. even though you're still paying the same thing for 12 months, probably at the end of that 12 months, somebody's gonna have to make up the difference. It's gonna be, go ahead.
Councilman Moore, you are correct. There's a true-up at the end of a billing year, and that true-up then is added to the next billing year. So, yes, it does adjust accordingly.
And it could be either,
Yes. Usually, yes, it's usually an upward adjustment, but it could be a downward adjustment.
but it's not a bad idea to look into it. And we can look into it and see if it be feasible for our customers.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Coles, I know we have been on the topic of utility bills for a while, but I just wanted to point out that if I'm not correct, Assistant Town Manager Bowers, we want to ensure transparency and that while there has not been an electric increase, there has been 2 additional increases that come in your utility bill back in 2024, if I'm not correct. Please correct me and explain that while we are having staggered increases, this is part of the total or increases in the citizens' bills. So having a town hall and having an opportunity to talk about it helps to explain why and how and when. I don't want the citizens to not be aware or to remember that there has been additional increases via my advocacy for the least increases we can get, because there has been 2 increases, may not been for electric, but this has been incurred by the town, and as the town grows, there's more constraint on the infrastructure and system. So Assistant Town Manager Bowers, if you could please explain to the people who are listening and who are present.
Yes, ma'am. So there's been since 22, have been several adjustments. Beginning on the electric side of the house, there was a power cost adjustment that was implemented during the COVID era. And that started out with a power cost adjustment. It was temporary, but that lasted for a couple years. It started out at the 5 cent per kilowatt hour as we did this time, and then it tapered down repeatedly over the course of those 2 years until it was eliminated. So while the rate has been stable since 2009, there were periods of time when the council saw fit to address the shortfalls with the power cost adjustment, and so that was a historical adjustment associated with that was tapered out, kind of like what we're doing with the current power cost adjustment. From a other utility standpoint, we did have a sewer increase, and I want to say that was around $8, and we also had a solid waste increase 2 years ago. So those are the increases that have changed over time since about 2022.
And Assistant Manager Bowers, the $8 sewer increase was, correct me, is that the one that is for the debt service on, no?
No.
Okay. So we're talking
the fund was losing so much money,
okay,
that's
that
how
was
much.
the one that we did at
Yes,
budgeting,
ma'am.
yes.
And then, so the debt service increase will come on next year as scheduled and approved for the financing of the $8 million sewer pump station project.
All right. Thank you all for speaking on that. I don't want to spend a lot more time on that because we have an agenda. We got about 45 more minutes. So we want to speak about this time here, what we have in the next, well, speaking about
QR code.
the QR code. Is anything on the QR code?
There.
Yes, there are other questions that are on the QR code. Would you like for me to read the next question?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. One of the questions, the next question, I'm sorry, on the QR code is public safety and policing. So what changes or investments are being made to improve public safety and build trust between law enforcement and residents? That was the next question.
So that would be a question for our law enforcement. Floor is yours.
Good morning.
Morning.
Lieutenant, how about introduce yourself?
Okay, I was waiting for
Okay,
Dr. Harrell
just
to make
kidding.
sure. So I am Lieutenant Hamilton. I'm the patrol lieutenant with the town of Winterville, and thank you for the opportunity to get up and speak. Can you repeat your question one more time for me?
Yes.
Just so I make sure.
Yes. What changes or investments are being made to improve public safety and build trust between law enforcement and residents?
Okay. So what I think one of the main issues is a lack of communication between the community and for law enforcement. There seems to be a gap there between how law enforcement operates and then the knowledge base of the community. One of those things, if you were at the Monday night meeting for the citizens here, I spoke with Ms. Hawkins, is presenting a class to how we can interact with law enforcement, how law enforcement interacts on traffic stops, how law enforcement interacts when they come to your house, and what goes on with calls for service and stuff like that, and then what you can expect from law enforcement, and what, as a citizen, what rights you have, and what things that you might have to do, and what things that you might hear law enforcement ask. We are in collaboration with the Human Relations Board, and I thank you all for being here as well, as to putting in a class for that. And it's going to start off with what to do from the time you get in contact with an officer to the time that officer leaves your presence. And that's built mainly not only to educate the community to what goes on during those interactions, but as Ms. Hawkins likes to say, to build transparency. There's a lot of misconceptions out there of how law enforcement operates, some misconceptions in what we are looking for, and we want to be open and available to the public. My office at the police department is open 8 to 5, and I'm willing to stay later on if I have to talk to some people. If anybody wants to come in, they have questions anytime during the day, ask any concerns, complaints, and just general questions, wants to sit down and talk to me about how law enforcement operates. But having that open line of communication is number one. My officers go through extenuating classes for basic law enforcement training, and then as soon as we get out of basic law enforcement training, we are constantly sending them to training to better equip them and educate them, not only on the law enforcement side, but for CIT purposes, for special needs purposes, to interact with maybe some of the community that they didn't commonly interact with when they were growing up, to better understand needs in diverse groups and stuff like that.
While you're there, explain to them what is a CIT. Anybody know what a CIT is here?
So,
Other than
yeah.
judge?
So CIT is crisis intervention training, and it's dealing with individuals who might have a mental crisis, might have a abuse crisis, might have something that we don't regularly deal with. And what it does is it allows our officers to be better informed, not only with dealing with them, but it gives them avenues and approaches to contact the correct agencies or the correct people to have a speedy time for somebody to come in and help assist with those situations. I believe right now, if we're not 100%, we're 98% on our CIT, certified officers.
Any questions?
I've been very impressed with the work with the senior citizens. Of course, I'm a senior in our senior program, and the police are there at our meetings. They interact with the citizens. They also have the program where they check in on our seniors, which is good because we have a lot of seniors that are living by themselves. And as a citizen of Winterville, and I've voiced this several times, I don't have that fear that I once had as a child when I see a police car. You know, because of the interaction with the community. I see you doing things like last week?
The Easter for the food
Easter,
delivery.
right, revival. They distributed boxes of vegetables to seniors in the community, which says that you care. And it's often said, people won't remember what you said, but they'll remember how you said it and how you made them feel. And that made our seniors feel really good to have that. So these are some things that I've seen personally in the community. And I've seen the officers go out and play ball in Hillcrest Park with the young men. And that's building relationships there. And they're positive relationships. And the bike trails and just being more active in community projects and community events.
Yes, ma'am, thank you for that. And if you allow me to plug the senior program we do have applications at the police department if anybody wants to come in. And it's not just a senior program, it's for anybody if we have some special needs kids that are at the house and they might be there by themselves. We call it the senior program, but it's open for anybody that if somebody says, hey, we'd like for somebody to go check in on them once a week, say hey to them, just to make sure they're doing all right. Those applications are available at the police department, and we will send a police officer to your house and just say hey to you and make sure everything is going good. They might even get in there and change a battery in your smoke detector or a light, help you out and some stuff like that. They can't take you grocery shopping, but they can help you out on some small stuff.
So I would just like to add, thank you, Lieutenant Hamilton, for explaining the efforts that are being made to build relationships. That is an integral part of the community. So while Winterville is deemed at one of the top towns in the state in terms of safety, that is, true. Safe communities are great. We love to live in safe communities, and I've also said that I feel safe with having to know that the Winterville police are here in the town and patrolling the way they do. However, effective policing lends itself also to effective, balanced, and accountable traffic stops. And this is what I speak of. So while the town is safe, I am encouraging the community to do indeed to reach out to Lieutenant Hamilton, to go to Coffee with a Cop. And as I've shared several times, Coffee with a Cop has been here in Winterville, but it is at one set time. We want to build relationships by expanding that time because everybody cannot come out one day a month at 9 or 9:30 in the morning. So we want to have equitable advantages for the town. We want to increase dialogue. We want more interactions, not traffic infractions. We don't just want the interactions with officers during traffic stops. That makes you fearful. While you're respecting the law, there becomes a tone of fear. And as Mayor Pro Tem Robertson says, the senior program is great with visiting, coming and checking in on. But most people, we have 26% to 30% of youth, and then we have about 40% of adults that are between 30 and 40. I don't know if they get that same interaction. So it is imperative when we're answering the question about building relationships is that we keep our eye on the pulse of looking at traffic stops and the disparities of Black people being stopped twice as much as our white population. We cannot ignore that or dispel that. And I think that having the Citizen Academy, building relationships, talking, being more personable as opposed to, rigid and performing duties and doing enforcement would be good. This is not being anti-police. This is encouraging effective policing. And I have been sharing some things in terms of wanting the establishment of a civilian review board, not to be punitive, but to have an eye on the tracking and the way in which stops are conducted and the outcomes, because ultimately, we want everybody to feel safe, and also a component of that is educating the community. And I think Lieutenant Hamilton said that this is something that he will be putting together, spearheading with the Human Relations Board. So I am welcoming this, and I hope, you know, that added to how we can better build relationships here in Winterville. Safety does not mean equity in traffic stops. I want to make that clear, and that is something that I'm eager for us to build.
Yes, ma'am. And before I step down, I want to say that the town of Winterville, nor the Winterville Police Department, will encourage or allow any biases in any traffic stops or interactions. So we have a rigid review process that goes from the citizen complaints, that goes to my daily review of body-worn cameras, that go to report reviews, and I'm looking at that constantly. So anything that would jump out as a bias gets reviewed. So that is something that I do not tolerate, and something that my guys will not tolerate, and this town of Winterville does not.
Thank you, and I'm looking forward to us doing the Citizen Academy and having more expansion of Coffee with a Cop, where the dialogue for building relationships can be something that is easily processed, as opposed to when we hear about traffic stops, or it becomes like anti-police. It's not anti-police, it is effective policing, and I thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, I got you.
Any other questions from the floor, or any QR code questions? Any questions? Oh, come on up. Let's step back here. There you go.
Do I need to give my address like I always do? Brandy Daniels, 2945 Foxglove Drive. Let me see here. It's just 3 questions. What are your thoughts on the Civilian Review Board? And I wrote these questions actually, so the timing is perfect. On the Civilian Review Board, and how do you think the police union impacts the ability to actually make that a possibility? Second question, hopefully you all will discuss this in private. If there's any way we can have a start time and possibly an end time to our meetings that we have once a month. Sometimes I feel like around 8 o'clock, I get up at 4 o'clock every morning. I've got a 6-year-old and a 5-month-old. And sometimes I feel like the longer we're in the meeting, the more the information pertains to me and my family. And by then I'm tired. And so when we're having public comment, we're limited to 3 minutes. I don't think as town council, you should be limited, because you're here, we elected you, we want to hear from you. But maybe there's a possibility that we start putting limitations on presentations and other people, because the only people who have limitations are us, and we're the residents, we live here. We, pay taxes and all those things. And I think the staff would appreciate that as well. And then the third thing, I was at the town council meeting a few days ago on Monday, and there was an approval for free usage space for a group called BNI. And I sat there and thought, I understand why you all may have approved them to do that. But then I thought, I don't think I would be able and have access to free space at all, whether you were a nonprofit. And so I did a little bit of digging, and I was able to find out, and I can share this with you if you like, that in order for those businesses to be a part of the group, they have to pay a membership fee of $594 a year. So in order for them to be a part, that organization knows where there's no investment, there's no care. So at least we might want to at least consider, at least if they can't pay a certain amount, maybe just pay for the housekeeping services, as we just did renew a contract that was about $100,000 for the whole year. So just something to reconsider. Thank you. Oh, bye.
So for your first question, with regards to the Civilian Review Board, I began introducing the Civilian Review Board in January of 2026 by sharing data in terms of traffic stops by race, demographic, and reason. It has been open to the council to give comments when I share. there have been very little comments, as opposed to one other council person in terms of that. And then lastly, last month, Mayor Pro Tem Robertson did ask for like a standard format of what this would look like. I was supposed to send that to her, but I sent a lot of other stuff to the town. I will get that to her. What that would look like is what I have been sharing the entire time. A civilian review board is just what it is. It is the civilians of the town meeting to track different things that are that they need to keep an eye on in terms of policing, effective policing. In this case, traffic stops where twice as many Black people are stopped than white people, while Black people are 36% of the population and white people are 67%. 67 or 68% of Black people are stopped, while 36% of white people are stopped. It's flipped. And so the Civilian Review Board would be citizens tracking trends and traits and concentrations, where these stops are happening, the interactions, if there are complaints, as Lieutenant Hamilton said, how the complaints are followed up, and it also would track the improvements. It is also like a board, like a volunteer board, and that they would get together to look at specific data. The data that I have shared is not coming from me. It is coming from the SBI. It is up on a website. Anybody within listening ear of me can go to the State Bureau of Investigation, traffic stops, click on Winterville, click on traffic stops by race, demographic, and reason. It will give you everything that I have been sharing. And so why is this important? It is important because it shows a red flag. And when a red flag is shown, something needs to be done about it. We cannot ignore it away. And we want to be proactive, not reactive. That is what the Civilian Review Board would do, and it will meet, well, it will be proposed to meet quarterly, or sometime it meets twice a year or yearly, but something in place to track this. I think this is also a part of building relationships, building trust, transparency, and accountability. And that is for me, for the Civilian Review Board, and then I guess we'll round it back to your second question. And if any other council persons want to address it.
I was going to speak
I wasn't
to the
finished.
Civilian Review Board for you. I have, in February, I was in a meeting in Southern Pines with the Mayor Association. And then within the Mayor Association, that was one of the questions I asked about civilian review boards, to try to gather information from towns our size, larger towns that may have these civilian review boards. So still gathering information. Also, reached out to the League of Municipality because as Councilwoman Hawkins states, pulling down this information, you want to make sure that when you put together a board, you want to make sure the people that you put on this board understand what this board is all about. You wouldn't want to put me on a board to do brain surgery that I don't know anything about. I might can read it and understand it, but I'm not a brain surgeon. Now, if you put someone up there that don't have maybe law enforcement or being an attorney that understands the nuances of the ins and out, I'm pretty sure you could read it to understand it, but do you really understand? So those are some of the things where I was talking with other mayors. They say you got to be careful when you form these boards of this magnitude, so. But I'm still gathering information. It's not been a loss, but just trying to get the right before we make a, want to make a sound decision.
I'd like to say thank you for your questions. For the Citizen Review Board, I've heard someone say that change comes at the speed of trust. And with that being said, when things are in the places that Councilwoman Hawkins spoke about the, the racial disparities, the traffic stops and things of that nature, as Lieutenant Hamilton spoke about the, community-based safety programs and reframing, I think that is a great thing, and to involve and connect our citizens to a citizen review board. So that will enhance like the transparency, the accountability, and it just works to speak to not just enforcement, but connections, prevention, and access to support, and having folks that are, our neighbors. And I say that all the time. Yes, I am a councilwoman, but you all are my neighbors. So the things that you see, the things that you go through, I go through as well. So I do feel that, as the mayor said, making sure that we have the right folks that are on the board, but I am in favor of that to enhance the accountability and also the transparency. Thank you.
I'll be brief. I just wanted to let everyone know that staff is working on a detailed report on traffic stops that will be presented to council in the near future to shed some additional light on the information. Secondly, John Stevens, who's a professor, a longtime professor with the School of Government in Chapel Hill, has an excellent publication that references civilian review boards. And I just want everyone to know that there are a plethora of types of civilian review boards that do a plethora of things with police departments. So staff will also be submitting an informational report to council that outline the way they're made up, what the responsibilities of some of them are. The book entails who currently has them throughout the state, just to give you all additional information as you consider that topic moving forward.
Thank you for that.
I'd like to make note that we look at our meetings. Our meetings are exceedingly long, and that it is a topic. If our citizens are interested enough to come to a meeting, just, see what's going on, we make sure that they're there when those topics are discussed. So it could be that we put limits on our comments as well as limits on the presentations, that we could have a meeting that would be within the limits of those who are attending.
Yes, I was getting ready to make a comment on the review board. My concern is, how do you judge not to stop a person? Because if an officer stop a person, or for any reason or cause, it's for a purpose. It's not just for a conversation. And it's because that something is not in compliance with the law. What reason? I don't know. So do we say that because who he is, we shouldn't stop him because the number that we're looking for? How do we get the information out to the ones that comes into the town of Winterville? Is to say, please, abide by the law. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter who you are. You're going to be, if you're not abiding by the law, you're going to cause a child to get hurt, mm-hmm. speeding too fast, mm-hmm. or somebody got a weapon out, mm-hmm. accidentally harm someone. It could be so many reasons. So I'm saying that a review board sounds good. I think it would be nicely. But I think on the flip side, how do you control and educate the ones who are breaking the law? That's our problem there. It's not, I don't care what kind of board you have. if the crime rate still be there, you're gonna have problems. Now, how can the review board can help a person from stopping them from breaking the law? I'm just asking a question. I'm a citizen just like everybody else is. Go ahead.
I would add that statistically, it just doesn't add up. We know this by data that Black people are only 13% of the population. We do not do the majority of the crime, but we are the majority of the people in prison and jail, and that's proportionally due to income. So the fact that people, we're extending trust into our police officers. I've been stopped and had them bring things to my attention that I didn't even know, but I've also gotten a ticket for going over near school. That was a ticket, and I gave it to my attorney and paid it and moved on. But the exchanges that take place are not necessary. If there's a ticket, if I'm doing something wrong I should not do, it's a ticket and let me go on my way. Okay. There have been times where I've been to Food Line, I've been to the gas station, and I can't count one person that I've seen their car being ramshacked who didn't look like me. But I can give you a lot of examples of people's cars that have been ramshacked here in Winterville, and I don't know if there's what they're looking for, maybe I'm not sure. But the fact that I only see that occurring with people that look like me, I don't think that means that we're more prone to have drugs or those types of things. It's just not true.
Do you think a review board will help solve something like that?
Well, I think we won't know if we don't do it.
So let me add, we speak about the review board, and you also mentioned how do we know who's really need to be arrested? And we would say, statistics saying whether there being more African-American people being arrested, but there are some African-American people who probably do need to be arrested because if they committed a crime. So it's, this old song by the Beretta is if you don't do the crime, you don't want to worry about doing the time, but don't do the crime. We have in Greenville, Winterville, Aden, we have a lot of people who's not living in this area and they're coming out of this area and they're robbing us. Like just had Wells Fargo buying, not too recently, just happened. There's a lot of people coming in from different areas. They coming from Raleigh. They come from different direction. Cars being broken in. So if that's something that this council looking to do a review board, that's something that's what y'all look to do. But I also look at what do we need to do today? What do we need to look at when she mentioned about that there's a fee to rent a facility, and without even really knowing her for a few minutes here, she has a heart to want to help in this community. Then we should be looking at what could we do today. For a mother to come out here with her child, I don't think she's the only mother here with a child. Let me make sure I got my glasses. I do got them on. Okay. That came out here with her child to say, listen, I'm here because of the community. I want to do something in this community, and she wants to help. When we have people like this, I'm saying with the human relation, I'm even the council, I'm not suggesting, I can't do anything here, I'm not a resident here, but I'm just speaking freely. I do have that right. They said we should put something in place for a community a network or something where she can do. We had Dr. Sutton, she does a lot. I'm here to help. How can we really work the narrative in our community, to help in that area? But you did mention, I like the idea, we're having cops and coffee on the weekday. It's not gonna help the people that like to meet them, because I've been to a few of them, and it's good to have that conversation. Maybe they could look at having one on a Saturday, that we have once a Saturday. But this meeting here needs to be more of this too, because we need more dialogue, because we're gonna leave here today, and we're gonna leave it today, so there's some good conversation. But the question is, what's next? What's next? And I am willing to help her as well if y'all allow that. I'm not trying to make a bargain, but whatever she needs help with, we want to help for this community, because that's what it's all about. You have the police officer, that's willing to help, and, we have National Day Out, but National Day Out is only one time a year. That's the second Tuesday of every August, am I correct? All right, but what about all year round? You know, I mean, I don't believe in Valentine's Day. I'm gonna treat my wife right just on Valentine's Day, or give her a gift on Christmas. I believe all year round, because every day is a day I got up to do something. So I just want to say that, because I believe you have a heart to want to help in this community. Am I correct? Put a ministry or something to do, and I am willing to help. She could bring toys down here for Toys for Tots. I'll work with you. I'll work with you.
Well, I will say.
Go now.
She didn't tell you that she does serve on one of our
I do, I
boards.
serve
Oh, I
on
didn't even know
planning.
that. I know the
I just
spirit.
want you to know
But I
that we
will-
have put her to work.
Yeah, now we'll give
all
a
right.
shameless plug to Councilwoman Robinson. I think the only reason I'm even involved is because she saw me at a meeting years ago. We were doing
It
the
was
10-year
a
plan.
citizen input on
Yes.
our planning and zoning.
Yes.
Stephen, when we did the, what was it, our comprehensive land use plan?
Mhm.
That was before, but young baby was
6-year-old,
born.
yeah, it was just me and my husband then. And so Ms. Robinson saw me and did the same conversation you were having right here at the mic, and I'm still here, so.
And also, I was gonna say, the board that you was talking about, did you also remember they said that they do a service project in lieu of?
Yes, I
Okay.
did.
All right, I just,
yeah, I
you know,
did.
just want to make sure that we put that out there too. They offer to do a service project in lieu of the fee?
Mhm.
Okay, all right.
Well, does that mean that other organizations who may be a nonprofit who you could clearly see don't have the funds could then have access? Or how do we make those decisions when we don't have any type of documentation or like nothing's written, so we're just making a decision based off of what?
Is there any MOA or MOU that's kind of set up with that?
I'm gonna refer to the town manager, because I think it's gonna have to be an MOU somewhere down the line.
If we're talking about requests to utilize our spaces without paying a fee, there's a request made to council. Usually it's outlined, just like this most recent one was, and presented accordingly. So to answer your question, anyone who wants to make that request can certainly do so. We'll make sure it is forwarded. I do know that historically, council has reserved that to groups that serve a need in town, and some of these relationships have been longstanding. So whether there's a memorandum of agreement or whatnot, there's not one in place for everyone, but it is on the record that it's presented to council and they consider it accordingly.
Also, Manager Parker, is our senior citizens, they utilize the community room. Is it any cost to them?
The group that is hosted by Ms. Beatrice
Miss
Henderson,
Henderson,
they do not
right.
pay to use the space.
They don't,
Buffalo
okay.
Soldiers do not pay to use the space.
Buffalo Soldier,
And I
correct?
don't know that I can remember all of them currently. They're not a lot, but there are a few.
Right, okay.
So here's a question just throwing out, like, she normally need to use this twice a week for once a week?
Once a week.
For 2 hours a week. Is that something that could be adjusted? That's something that we can put together? I mean, it's a question.
Certainly, I think if, Ms. Daniels, if you would submit your request, we'll make sure, we would need to check with the office manager at the police department. She schedules the use of community room, we would get it before council, but if you have a request, we'll certainly make sure we forward it accordingly.
Yeah, I personally don't have a request. I just wanted to make sure that what we do for one, we do for all. And so it's hard to, I sat there and thought, they have the money. And so I thought, at least charge them what it would cost housekeeping to take care of the room and prepare for the next person at a minimum. Because we all know where there's no investment, there's no care and concern, so.
Well, we try to stay on top of that very specifically, so thank you.
They're required to leave the room in a certain order. you know.
Correct.
I know the seniors actually, because if you go to our senior meeting, as soon as the meeting's over, the seniors stand up and start cleaning up, because that's what they're accustomed to over there. So that's the only group that I go to that I know that uses it like that, is the senior group, and they, have a certain they have to leave it in certain order. Trash out, no trash on the tables. Of course, can't mark on the wall, can't stick anything in the wall. They have all those guidelines that they have to do.
Town Manager Parker, could you repeat again some of those other organizations that use the room free of charge?
So I believe the Buffalo Soldiers, the Winterville Senior Citizens Group, the Chamber has had events that we do not charge them. I do believe the Democratic Party may have held a couple of events there that we didn't
Alright.
charge them. And I'm sure there are others, I just can't think of who they are currently.
Thank you.
I want to point out that the BNI that is being mentioned, while the other organizations have been mentioned, BNI presented that they wanted the use of the community room indefinitely. There was no stop date. There was no occasion for it. This was, and it can be reviewed on the minute meetings. So when we have a company that comes in that is doing similar work to the Winterville Chamber of Commerce, and they have not presented anything, they showed a picture, and they said that this would not have an end date until we come back again. But they would have been under the assumption, in which it was voted for, that they can meet every Tuesday from 8 to 9:30 indefinitely. And I believe that when citizens come and they have a question about this, we should just be transparent. This is what happened. And if anybody else wants to come, we have youth that have nowhere to go in inclement weather, hot or cold, right? They're outside outside with nothing unless they go to Greenville. And while we are working on a multi-purpose center, I'm talking about today. I'm talking about right now, what are we doing? And we cannot continue to have excuses. We have a Winterville Chamber of Commerce, and everybody has their right to their opinions. But let's be clear, this was indefinitely. This was not, you're doing it, here or there. The Winterville Senior Citizens Group has to reapply each year to get, that option and that opportunity. And the other, the Democratic Party or whomever has done it, I don't think that was a every week thing indefinitely. And I just want to say we have about close to 10 minutes. But in terms of the policing, there is a ride-along form that the community can fill out. And you have to meet certain criteria to actually do a ride-along with our police officers and see how they patrol, how they serve, how they protect our community. Why are they getting in trouble, or why is it such an imbalance between black and white? That is something that data is showing. And when I speak to this, we're talking about over 500 being stopped black, and maybe 100 being stopped white, and then the blacks people are getting warnings, verbal warnings, go about your day, while they're not getting the same equity in written tickets. So a civilian review board will indeed look at that. Is the same amount of stops getting tickets, or more of them getting verbal warnings after cars are being ransacked, after this or that, or conversation? I think the crux of the matter is looking at a scope where we can have better relationships. If you're doing wrong, you're going to get in trouble here in Winterville. But if you're doing right and it is minimal, you should be able to go about your day.
Please excuse me, I know time is winding up.
I'm not
and
finished my thought. I'm not finished my thought. I'm not finished my thought. I'm not finished my thought. So what I would, I'm not finished my thought. So what I would say is, please contact Lieutenant Hamilton. Please understand that we need to build relationships. We need to stop giving excuses and start being transparent and accountability. And now I'm finished.
I just wanted to ask you, would you provide an outline of what the Civilian Review Board,
Well, I'm gonna,
your concept of it, or whatever?
I'm gonna ask us to table this, because y'all told me y'all wanna be done by 11:30. I'm gonna respect your time.
One more request.
Because you got about actually 7 minutes, but if each one of
Take
y'all,
me 30 seconds.
you got it, take your 30 seconds, and now
And
you
all
owe
I
me
wanted
coffee.
to do was ask our town manager if, when we're doing our planning sessions, that we could look at a different policy for nonprofits.
Mhm.
In Greenville, I know I was involved in a group lately that is gonna use EPS, and we're paying a smaller fee. And so that's it.
Thank you. We're gonna ask you any closeout from the counselor. We have exactly 6 minutes, about 1 minute each one of a follow-up on what we just heard today. Less than a minute, please.
Less than a minute. I just want to say thank you to the staff, to you, the moderator, you did an excellent job, and to our guest, Ms. Cannon. I just want to let you know that I'm a citizen too in this town, and when it costs you or anybody else, it costs myself and my family also. So I say this meeting today has been excellent to me, and I think that what Council Hawkins always has said, transparency, this right here is part of it right here. I just want to say thank you for that idea.
Thank you. Next.
And I echo Councilman Moy in thanking everybody who was here today, especially the 2 residents who came and shared questions today. I wonder how we might be able to know who submitted questions via the QR code online. So for instance, if Lieutenant Hamilton wanted to follow up with the individual who sent in the question, how might we know who submitted those questions and be able to provide follow-up?
Thank you.
Thank you to everyone who came today. I appreciate your participation. If you want lunch, come by Mount Shallow Church, we'll serve.
Okay, where's that address? I'm just kidding. Good, Mayor, pass it. Oh, pass it on to you.
So I just would like to say again, thank you to everyone. This was a great meeting to start with transparency, so on and so forth. Every decision that we make reflects the needs of all the residents and not just some of the residents. And at the end of the day, all of the initiatives, all the partnerships and decision goes back to improving the quality of life of every resident. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Yep, and I would like to say thank you to all of the citizens, residents, guests, department chairs, staff, town manager, the rest of the council for agreeing to come today. At the end of the day, the people are at the top of this organization, and there is no offense in that. With regards to the 2 people who shared your questions, while you are 2, you represent the 11,000, over 11,000. And there are more people watching, and there will be more and more people watching, because we are engaged. We are holding our government to what they say they bring to us. And my voice is not against the town, but just actually with the town, because I am of the people as well. With regards to the QR code, Lieutenant Hamilton, when the document was created, it was done not to gather email addresses, but those questions were general choices for citizens to make, and that was just one of the questions, and you have answered it. I think more of your answer will be as we go along building better relationships. And then you have also offered to the citizens to reach out to you. So those specific people, I'm encouraging them to trust enough to reach out to you, and that is what we are trying to build. We had one other citizen who wanted to ask a question, but I don't know if we
Okay,
have.
well, we got 1 minute, but let me, if you're gonna say it in 30 seconds, right there, be good. You gotta yell, Matthew.
Yeah.
Mhm. Well, I think that's something they're gonna take and consider what they're planning on doing, so I guess, I'm quite sure we're not gonna, this ain't gonna be the last meeting. I'm hoping that we need to have a follow-up with this here, and I would love for you to speak on that the next time. If you want me to come back, I will come back. But I wanna say to, not just to the town and not just to all the leaders in our community, I wanna thank y'all for having it, because it's very important to have this for our citizens, what's happening. They have a voice, and I just feel sometimes they don't have a voice, and everything being done to the citizens, and they don't know what's happening, and it's going up there, and then coming back down towards them. So I thank y'all for doing this. I believe we need to do this again. I got 1 minute. You know what I'm saying? We need to do this one more time to continue having that. So I thank you, and I thank for all the speakers. Thank you for the human relation, for what you're doing. You put it on the board. This is something we have to continue doing, to continue building for our community, because we all God's children, each and every one of us, and we want to work for our community. This is our community, so we got to work in our community. And my time is up.
Pastor Cole, I would like to say, Pastor Cole, I would like to say thank you for coming out and moderating. I'd like to say to our staff, thank you for coming in this morning, participating on a Saturday. Thank you to the council for agreeing. As you say, this shouldn't be the last, but we got a lot of work that we got to do as a council. And we got to set some dates. We need some policy changes. We've been asking the council to submit their policies, and as of to date, we haven't received any. You know, so there's something that we got to do. You know, transparency, yes, correct, but it starts up here. It starts up here, and that's what we got to do. And to the citizens, we appreciate you. We appreciate you. These forums here are meant for you. We want to hear from you. As Ms. Robinson stated, we're available 24 hours a day because our numbers, our emails are there. Reach out to us. You have a question, we'll get back with you. Now I entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Have a motion on the floor and a second. All in favor, vote by saying aye.
Aye.
Meeting closed.